everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to this week's broadcast. I'm Jen Zills from Kids Eat Vegetables, and today I want to share with you a pantry staple. This is an item that you will always find in our pantry. It's a versatile item that we use in many different ways, and I really wanted to share with you today because it is an absolute superfood. If you are new to my broadcast, again, my name is Jen Zills. I am a wife, a mom of three, a certified health coach, and the founder of Kids Eat Vegetables, where I help busy moms on their journey to raising healthy kids. And if you are a group, or in a mom's group, or in a local group, or have other mom friends who you know are struggling to get their little ones to eat healthier, to make healthy choices, and to eat more vegetables, please be sure to share this broadcast. We'd love to have more moms join us on our mission, and just having the support of other moms around us as we battle through the dinner time challenges with our little people. And again, if you are new to the broadcast, please be sure to sign up for our weekly newsletter. Go to kidseatvegetables.com/tips. Again, that's kidseatvegetables.com/tips. You can sign up for our weekly newsletter. You're going to receive my free ebook that has 10 tips to getting your kids to eat vegetables tonight. Yes, it's possible. As well as our weekly newsletter, which goes out every Saturday morning, called Veggie Bites, and it's packed with recipes, tips, coloring pages, and a whole lot of fun. So sign up for our newsletter so you can get all the recipes for the superfood that I'm going to talk about today. So in this week's newsletter, this Saturday, I will have a couple recipes using this superfood. So this is a food that is actually like a very ancient food. They'll say it's called the superfood of the Andes, or you'll hear a lot of stories about the Incas who used to eat this superfood. And the superfood is quinoa. And I have two different kinds here today. So this is an item that you are always going to find in our pantry, and almost every week you're going to find a bowl of it in our refrigerator. We use it in just so many different ways, but I want to talk to you about why quinoa is so important, and why even just getting our kids to eat just a couple little tablespoons. They don't have to have heaping servings of this, right? If you can just start getting your kids eating just a couple tablespoons of quinoa, I think it's a great staple food for a variety of reasons. But I kind of recommend that you start them eating it just maybe plain, or with a little bit of maybe gravy or something simple on there, and then you kind of expand it in many different ways. But get them familiar just with the simple little grainy, it looks like a little seed. Get them familiar with that, and then you can start expanding on it and using that. Once it becomes familiar to them, then you can kind of expanding on it and having it, presenting it to them or serving it to them in different ways. So let's talk about why it's so important. So quinoa, again, like I said, has been used since ancient times, and the Incas would use it as a way, they felt that it increased their stamina. So if they were going on a big hunting mission, and you can tell this story to your kids, because like kids love these stories. Like, we would help the Incas hunt longer, and they had more energy to fight and to hunt these wild animals that they would, bring back to their tribe, right? Make a big story about it, because it's so true and it's so important. And so they really felt like it would give them more stamina to go out on long hunting journeys, right? It is a very, very high protein food. So it's one of the most protein rich foods we can eat. It's also very unique in that it contains all 9 amino acids, which makes it a complete protein. So it's a very powerful protein. It has 2 times more fiber than any other grain, which is crazy, because if you're not familiar with quinoa, it's really, really tiny little seeds, seed size. They're not seeds, it's actually a grain, but it looks like a little tiny seed, right? So powerful protein, powerful with fiber, rich in magnesium. Magnesium is so important for our bodies, helps us to detox. For our little people, it helps with build strong teeth and strong bones. It's high in B2. So powerful little food, and it's so simple. And again, we don't have to get our kids to have a bunch of servings of this, right? I started introducing quinoa to my kids. Now, if you go on Pinterest, you are going to find all these quinoa salads, which are awesome. Moms, they're so fabulous. Get a couple of those great recipes for your lunch. But I don't recommend starting your kids there, because if it's unfamiliar to them and you start mixing it with vegetables or mixing it in a salad, they're gonna start having some red flags. Like, wait a minute, I don't know what this is, and you're serving it with vegetables. Hold up, not happening. So for us, I started introducing quinoa in place of like potatoes. So when maybe I would usually have mashed potatoes, gravy, and chicken, we would then, instead of having mashed potatoes, we'd have quinoa, and they could put a little bit of gravy on it. It comes with their chicken, which they're familiar with. So I introduced it as a replacement for mashed potatoes, is how I started introducing quinoa. And then once my kids got familiar with that, then I started expanding on it and having more recipes. So I like to replace something that they know, right? Something they're familiar with, pair it with something they like. So again, shredded chicken, maybe a roast, something like that. Something where you're gonna have like a gravy, maybe that they're familiar with, and then have quinoa. And that way, you know, they're familiar with it, and it's you easing them in. And then you can get into all those great salads that you see on Pinterest, which, like I said, are fabulous. Mom, you should definitely go try those out for yourself, but not necessarily the place to start our kids. A couple other ways that you can introduce this is just mixing it in with your chickens. First, you have to cook it. I should say that first. So you're gonna cook the quinoa, but once you have cooked quinoa, like I said, I will have cooked quinoa in my refrigerator every week. You can mix a little bit in with some shredded chicken, some rotisserie chicken, some tuna salad. So start mixing it in so they start seeing it and becoming familiar with it. And once they become familiar with it and they start eating it, you know, it's extremely healthy. Like I said, high in protein, high in fiber, high in magnesium. Then you can start introducing it, maybe putting it on salad or introducing it with some vegetables, okay? So quinoa is the food that I'm challenging you this week to try with your kiddos. It is extremely simple to prepare. You know, you're going to boil water. Okay, Mom, you're gonna boil water. The most important thing when you are preparing quinoa is to make sure you're rinsing it. Rinse your quinoa. So rinse these, get a real fine strainer or sieve, and run cold water over your little quinoa grains, because if not, you can have a little bit of a film on there that can taste a little soapy or a little unpleasant. So rinse them really well. Even if it says they're already rinsed, I still rinse them anyways. You're gonna boil some water. Now, the directions will tell you to prepare it in water. That's fine, you can absolutely do that. I like to prepare in broth. It gives it a little more flavor. You get the nutrients of the broth. So if you have broth, we like to have homemade broth, but we also, you know, buy store-bought. This is a organic broth brand. So I like to prepare it in broth. It gives it a little more flavor. So you're gonna boil your broth, get your broth hot, put in your rinsed quinoa, put on a lid, and you're gonna let it sit for 15 minutes. It doesn't get easier. You're boiling broth or water, you're putting in your quinoa, you're putting on a lid, and you're letting it sit. You're scrolling Facebook, you're cutting veggies, you're helping with homework. Very easy to make some quinoa. So my challenge for you this week is to make some quinoa, and look for ways to introduce it to your family, maybe alongside mashed potatoes or with some rotisserie chicken, right? Prepare it with something they know if it's new to your family. And then in this week's newsletter, I am going to have a couple recipes for you for I call it quinoa confetti. So it's like quinoa with a little bit of real small little veggies cut up into it. I'm gonna have a great salad recipe for moms and some adventurous kids if they're willing to try it. So I will have some recipes for quinoa in this week's newsletter. Again, sign up at kidseatvegetables.com/tips to get those recipes and look for ways to introduce some quinoa into your family meal plan this week. This one actually is from Aldi's, and so this is an organic quinoa. It's a it's a staple at Aldi's now, so you can always find that there. Or this is Bob's Red Mill, and this one is a tri-colored quinoa, so you can get it the tri-color or the plain, either way. I'm gonna start with plain if you think your kids might be a little bit, nervous about it. But they both can be used the same. They're both just as easy to make, and both very powerful. So tell them the story about this powerful food of the ancient Incas who used to eat this little tiny quinoa grains to have all this stamina and all this energy to go out and hunt for hours, right? That's a great story. Who wouldn't want to try that food? Come on. So you prepare it as a side dish, put it alongside something they know, and then over time you can mix it. You make it with a veggie stir fry, or like I said, a veggie confetti, mixed in with your salads. Some people like quinoa for breakfast. I think you'll see that all over Pinterest. It's a huge thing with, moms and more energy, eat quinoa for breakfast. My family is not so on board with that. I've tried it and they're like, just give me the oatmeal. So they're not such big fans of breakfast, quinoa for breakfast. But definitely, if you think your kids would enjoy it, try it for breakfast as well. There's a lot of great recipes there. But again, sign up for this week's newsletter. I'll have some great quinoa recipes in there. And let me know. Come back and comment. Let me know. Do you eat quinoa today in your house? Is this new to you? Are you going to try it this week? Come back and let us know what you think about quinoa. And if you've had any kind of revolts in your house when you've tried it with your kids, let me know and we can kind of talk through that as well. So be sure to come back and let us know how you did. You guys have a great day and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.